Well, back in the day, it wasn't uncommon to use an airport runway as a drag strip.
And on Saturday nights for nearly 20 years, the York Airport in Thomasville, York County was a hot place to race. Fox 43's Lindsay Barnett is here to show us the feature of horsepower that was on that runway.
Yeah, and you won't believe the stories some of these guys have to tell about the racing down, and especially with the airplanes. Back in the 60s and 70s, York U.S. 30 brought West Coast drag racing to the pride of the East. Hundreds of cars turned out to race on Saturdays, and it wasn't always your typical hot rod racing down the track.
You want to see professional drag racing like you've never seen it before? Be there! York U.S. 30.
On Saturdays from 1960 to 1979, the York Airport had a dual purpose. One, as an airport, and second, as a drag strip.
That was convenient for us because we all were from around the Hanover, Abbottstown area and New Oxford area, so it wasn't far to tow or anything like that. It made it convenient, and really US 30 was nationwide. It was known nationwide. So it was one of the more elite racing tracks.
It was known as the Super Track of the East. The York US 30 drag strip was the first NHRA sanctioned track in the region. And it wasn't always your typical race car that burned some rubber.
It was my family car. And we'd go racing with it on Saturday night. If I broke something, I had to fix it up, and then we could take my family away during the day.
Racing to make money, but working during the week, pinching pennies to race his daily driver. The dragway was a hot attraction, bringing car counts in the hundreds, and racing 2 and sometimes 4 abreast across the runway.
We'd have to stop the drags and let the airplanes land. And sometimes they would knock out our timing lights.
There was one guy that had a 54 Corvette that was called the Bird's Nest, and he made a pass, and the airplane started coming in without permission, and he was racing the airplane down the track. Luckily, the airplane was slowing down. He was speeding up, so he kept saying, "Boy, baby, don't brake now."
Before US 30, it was briefly known as the South Penn Dragway. They raced the opposite direction until it changed hands in 1960. But the racing stopped after the 1979 season. Improvements were made to the airport as the air traffic increased. And although there hasn't been any racing in 44 years, a few features still remain.
The rusty guardrail there, that was to keep cars from heading out onto 30 that, you know, if a parachute failed or brakes failed or there was some sort of mechanical problem.
Many stories can be told between the cracks of the old pavement, where the fans sat to watch the horsepower ignite, and also where the work to the cars occurred.
Where this road here was the old return road back to the pit area. There was a building here that had restrooms. I think there was like a gift shop. There was a snack bar.
Once in a while, pieces of history from the drag strip still pop up.
If I could reach back tomorrow, I'd bring it back.
A lot of racing memories from those Saturday nights in Thomasville. Come on, did you take a car back in the day?
Oh my gosh, Lindsay, I'm watching the video and I'm seeing the pictures, and I grew up here and I used to go and watch the races there and those pictures. And yeah, people used to take their cars, Gremlins and Pacers and Dodge Darts, and the family cars on certain days would race them. And I used to go to those races all the time, and
wow,
what great memories. And